Everyone, welcome to this Thursday morning edition of Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBear's Casino. Ronnie Rance alongside TK, Tommy Chrysan. Tommy coming to you from Court Street Cafe in historic downtown Port Allen. I'm coming to you from the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame studios, and we're presented by LeBear's Casino, which, mark your calendar, October the 21st is a Friday, the day before the LSU Ole Miss game. That is when at 3:30 p.m. The new Barstool Sportsbook and Bar and Grill and everything will open up at LeBear's on that 3:30. We have a ribbon cutting that afternoon. Dave Portnoy and some of the boys are all going to be there from Barstool, and that'll be a big weekend at LeBear's. You go check out the new Barstool Sportsbook. Right, they've been using the temporary one this last year, and of course the bar and grill part's going to open as well.
Ronnie, I have a couple questions about the Barstool Sportsbook. If you know the answer, I was talking with a bunch of guys last night. I was telling them Friday the 21st, 3:30. They want to know if there's any specials, any giveaways, or is it just like grand opening and everybody have fun? It is a Friday
I'll
at
ask
3:30.
that question. I don't at the time. I don't know that there's anything like that. I know they'll do a big to do with the ribbon cutting, and they're going to have some former athletes and stuff there as well for about an hour around 3:30. But beyond that, I'm not aware at the moment.
It's not they're not giving away a car or giving away like a date with Ronnie Rance or anything like that.
They're not doing that. And there'd be a bunch of dudes, by the way, at the ribbon cutting. They're definitely not giving away the date thing. But no, it's going to be really cool. I did a little tour maybe about 10 days ago or so, whenever the last time was we had our show there. And I got this chance to see behind the scenes. They still had a lot of constructions, things they were working on, a lot they needed to do before October 21st. And I was kind of looking around thinking, is this really going to be ready in a month? They said, yep. But it's going to be neat, man. Just imagine if you've ever been to LeBear's Casino, when you walk in, the first thing you always saw when you walked through the main entrance was the stadium sports bar and grill on the left. Well, that space will still be there. It'll just be the Barstool Sports Grill. It'll have a new look to it and all that, but it's going to be there. And then once you passed up the Barstool, the stadium sports bar, which is now Barstool, everything to the left, which was where the video poker machines were, it was like 4 rows of video poker. All of that space to the left when you go on the casino floor is now a big sports book. And so it's really going to be totally different, the look of it when you walk into the casino. It's going to be a wow type of thing. So looking forward to that on Friday, October the 21st at 3:30 p.m. Today on Sports Shorts Daily, we're going to talk, of course, about LSU. The Tigers find themselves at home against the Vols, a 3-point dog. The Saints find themselves at home as a 5.5-point favorite, even though they're taking on a team in Seattle that's 2-2 and just put up 48 points on the road against the Lions. I don't know about that one. But Tommy loves the over-under. He'll tell you about it. Plus, he put his money where his mouth is on that bet, so we'll get into that. LSU Baseball, that's right, does start today. Scrimmage action. I actually saw Jay Johnson last night at Ruth Chris in Baton Rouge. Went there for my daughter's birthday dinner, and he was there with Ivan Cabrera and his wife and stuff. And got a chance to visit with him. LSU Baseball underway. Everybody wanting to get a chance to sneak peek. They're going to scrimmage today and tomorrow, and then they'll scrimmage on Sunday afternoon as well. So you got 3 big scrimmages coming up the next 4 days, and that's going to be a chance for LSU baseball fans to pack the house and see what we've been hearing. We've got the number 1 transfer class in the country, number 1 recruiting class in the country. You got Dylan Cruz and Trey Morgan back, All-Americans, Team USA members. Like, this team is loaded to bear, and we'll know over the next couple of weeks what that looks like. Looking forward to that. Major League Baseball season came to an end last night. The playoffs start tomorrow. Tommy will have some thoughts on it. What a year it was in Major League Baseball, particularly the way it ended with Pujols' 700-plus homers, with Judge hitting 62 homers. There's some great stories of Shohei Ohtani was unbelievable again. Deserves. I don't care about Judge. I don't care about Pujols. Their stories are great. They had great years. Ohtani, to me, I mean, if you're hitting 30 homers, Tommy, and you're one of the best pitchers in the league, you are the MVP. I mean, that every year. and he's just quietly on a bad team having a Hall of Fame, career already. And we'll talk about him. And there's another great story that happened in Oakland on the final day. We'll get into that as well. Let me bring in TK right now. Where do you want to start, Tommy? LSU or Saints?
Let's start with LSU. I'm sitting here on Thursday morning at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. And I mean, if somebody said you got to make your bet today on the game, I'd take Tennessee and later. I'd try to buy it down to 2.5. I just don't think LSU can get it done. Tennessee finally beat Florida. They've been coming. They've been getting better. The quarterback Hooker's good. They run very fast tempo offense, or even faster than the air raid. So that's going to be a challenge for what's been a great LSU defense, only allowing 3 points in the second half of their 2 SEC contests combined. Now, I've already placed a bet on Saturday morning's game. When I went to my place, saw that the over-under was 65, and I immediately clicked the under, laid a few dollars on LSU, Tennessee, under 65. It had been sitting at 64, and it bounced back around. So I already got the money down on that. That's a little Sports Shorts daily tip for you there. And I'm leaning to Tennessee. I'll make my final decision, get a little closer to the game.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the over-under yesterday. I mean, I like the under largely due to the fact that, I just don't believe in the LSU offense. That's the biggest reason. Now how do over-unders get blown? Well, they get blown last week when you have defensive scores and then turnovers and things like that. And that's how you can take a game and it can end up being an over when it shouldn't be. And that's possible. I mean, this LSU defense is proven to be extremely good at taking the football away. And so that could potentially save this offense if they do that again against Tennessee. But if they play it straight and you don't have 3 or 4 turnovers for the LSU defense, if you have 0 or even maybe 1 and it's not a pick six, then I just don't know how LSU's offense is going to really score, more than 20 points. And even if Tennessee has a really good offensive day and scores 30 something, I just don't know that LSU's offense can keep up. And so, I 65 feels good to me. I mean, 38-24, you're a winner, in that scenario. If Tennessee scores 38 and LSU scores 24 points, I mean, I know Tennessee's defense, especially this passing defense, is why people, the over-under, people think, well, there's a chance for LSU because they might be able to throw the football, and they had this player-only meeting. I'm just not buying it. We've seen this LSU offense, and they're just not very good throwing the football. I just don't think it's automatically going to flip a switch. Will it be 80, 90 passing yards? No, but 150, 175, that's more likely. And I just don't think that gets it done, lights up the scoreboard.
Well, if you look at Tennessee in the big picture in the last 10 plus years, they've had all these different coaches. They've had issues, transfer portal in and out. They've kind of been what's going on? Are they really good? Are they bad? They look great one week, look terrible one week. I'm in the group that's buying into Tennessee this year. They're ranked number 8 in the country. LSU is ranked 25. So it's a great ranked matchup in Tiger Stadium. I'm one of the ones that thinks Tennessee's for real, especially when they got the Florida monkey off their back. They're confident. They got up-tempo, fast-paced offense. They're going to snap the ball quickly. LSU's going to have to get personnel in and be ready to go. Put your seatbelt on kind of thing. And then, I'm buying into the fact that Tennessee's pretty good. I'm not saying LSU's bad. I'm not saying LSU can't win the game if they get some things going on. Hey, LSU's tied with Bama for the lead in the SEC West. Did we think we'd be saying that on October the 5th or whatever today is? No, it's 6th, whatever it is. But they are, and that's the reality of it. They were 2-0 in conference play, and they got a home game. Ronnie, the last 8 times LSU kicked off in Tiger Stadium prior to 12 noon, they're 8-0. Now, as you accurately pointed out, there wasn't no ranked number 8 opponents on that list.
Usually those were crappy games. That's why.
Usually that was Vanderbilt or Missouri. So but none of this is going to matter till you get to Saturday, and team that makes fewest mistakes is going to win. But I damn sure think that playing under 65 is a strong bet.
The other thing too is the reason. and I know you haven't pulled the trigger on Tennessee winning a game, but you did think if you laid some coins, you would take Tennessee and buy the half a point to get the 2.5. Tennessee had a week off, and a week off in college football is a big, big deal. You had a week off last week, and they had a week off not only to get healthy and not only to game plan LSU, but probably get some things fixed a little bit on defense. I mean, they gave up 450 yards passing to Florida, and that's what's given LSU fans hope is that if Richardson, who's looked terrible this year, can throw for 450 yards against Tennessee, well, what can Daniels do, who actually looks better than him? And so that's the reason, right? That the line is what it is. But that said, a week off can go a long way for a young defense that needs just some tinkering and adjusting and fixing. And now they've got 2 weeks to prepare to take on an LSU offense that's struggling, big time.
Now, I asked an interesting question to Derry Beckwith last Saturday on Sports Choice Radio. You were at a soccer game in London, but I asked Derry, being a former player, guy's been there, done that. I said, Derry, if you had an open date, you're a Tennessee player, are you watching the LSU game? Are you watching that game? He said, no. He said he guessed 3/4 of the players weren't watching. The coaching staff did. He said, but the players, they got other stuff to do. They went to their high school or to their hometown, and they're going to wait until the coaches present everything. They probably started looking at LSU prior to LSU playing Saturday. Thought that was an interesting comment by Derry.
Yeah, that is an interesting comment by Derry. And I believe it, though. Like these 18, 19, 20-year-old kids.
20 years old.
They know they're going to watch film on the LSU, and they're going to get their fill of LSU. There's very few of them. Not all of them, but there are very few of them that are going to sit around with a pizza and watch the LSU game.
Yeah.
But that said, it's funny. You go online and you look at some of the national predictions, and there's a lot of national pundits that are saying LSU is going to win this football game. I looked at one a minute ago, 34-30 LSU was their prediction. That was what I found on College Football News, collegefootballnews.com. They had LSU winning a game. I don't know if we're just too close to the sun, Tommy, and we're very critical of LSU because we see them every single play. And I know coming home is going to be, different. And I do think they're going to play better. And they're taking on a terrible defense and all that. But I do think that the week off helps that defense and LSU's offense. I just don't believe in it that it's all of a sudden going to flip a switch. Because we've seen now Daniels be this guy for 4 years. Like, he's not changing. He can be a little better, but he's not changing who he is. And so that said, the offense is limited. And, oh, by the way, the offensive line is – limited.
Craig said it right here. He says, you can't teach Jaden Daniels new tricks. He is who he is. We said that the other day, so he's going to do it. But then Mike chimes in and needs to throw an interception, let it rip, hold it back. You really got to push the envelope to be ultimately successful. If you're so conservative, and you got that 3rd and 8, you throw for 6 yards, you're off the field. So, we'll see. I'm sure he knows all that stuff. We'll just have to see what happens come Saturday morning. It's a sellout. The game's sold out. Don't be crowded. Weather forecast is supposed to be outstanding. So, be fun to watch.
Yeah, and then we'll talk all about it Saturday night from 7 to 9 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. We'll be live from LeBare's Casino. So come check us out or tune in from 7 to 9 Saturday night. We'll have like a little post-game show. Okay, let's talk Saints. The Saints are kind of in a win. Look, they have to win, right, Tom? This is it. The season, I don't want to be dramatic. I'm not trying to sell a movie here. They've got to win. You can't find yourself 1-4 through 5 games and right the ship. Obviously, if you're 1-4, it's a 1% chance you're going to turn around and have some kind of 8-game winning streak. So, you are who you are if you lose this game at home to Seattle.
Well, and I'm surprised they're favored by 5.5, especially
I'm shocked.
Said, Seattle putting 48 points in Detroit. And Detroit's a better team. We always laugh about the Lions, but they're a little better this year. But is this maybe they're thinking Andy Dalton, because Winston and Michael Thomas did not practice yesterday, which is Wednesday. Now we'll find out, tomorrow if they worked out today and what the weekend looks like. But maybe they're thinking Andy Dalton got a game under his belt, knocked a few cobwebs, a little rust out of the way, and that he's, maybe he can be more productive in the dome at home. And, I don't know. I'm surprised by the line.
No, I definitely am. Look, in the NFL, unlike college, there's less carryover from one week to the next. We know that. We see it all the time, although we see it in college more and more now. Let me just look at Tulane, for example. Tulane goes on the road, beats Kansas State, and then they come home and lay an egg against a not very good Southern Miss team. Now they bounce back and win in overtime with their third string quarterback at Houston the very next week. But there's a lot more of that now, but as opposed to in college where you kind of more know who's going to win and lose. It's more about the spread in a lot of games, whereas in the pros, I mean, it's just a freaking coin flip. Buffalo last year, as dominant as they were, went down and lost to Jacksonville. It can happen in the NFL. So the pundits are saying they don't believe in Seattle, they don't believe in Geno Smith, they don't believe in the Seahawks. They are saying, we don't know if they can carry that over to a very good LSU. I mean, a very good Saints defense, and the Saints at home. That's a big giant advantage. I get that. 5.5 is a lot of points, and the way this offense is struggling. If Michael Thomas and Jameis Winston and Alvin Kamara don't play this Sunday,
Kamara was quoted as saying he expects to play.
Right. But, I mean, Jameis Winston said he expects to play last Tuesday and ended up never practicing and didn't even, go to the game. So if those three don't play, I don't know how you can bet Saints to cover the 5.5.
And they lost Latavius Murray, who looked good for him in London. That's snafu. That was a front office boo-boo there for sure, So, I got to think I got to get some
it's a must-win
on the Seahawks. I mean, gee.
But
the dome ain't what it used to be as far as intimidating visiting teams. And Ronnie, you made a good point. In the NFL, the worst team, those 53 guys are still NFL players who have coaches who know what the hell they're doing. That's why you can have, they say, any given Sunday. Whereas, there are teams, like Vanderbilt will never beat Alabama in football this year. They played 10 times in a row. Bama's going to win 10 because of the gap. But if you take the worst record in the NFL and the best record in the NFL, and they played 10 times, it might be 6-4, 7-3 with wins, because that's how different it is every time you line it up and kick off.
Yeah. I think the desperation of the team, the coaching staff, the fans know. Fans aren't stupid. The fans know the season's on the line. They know that the Saints have got to win this game. And so I think this is going to be like a playoff game atmosphere, because everybody's so desperate. I mean, whatever you got, empty it here, because there's just not a path, Tommy, going 1-4, which would leave you 12 games left, and you basically have to go 9-3 in your last 12 if you lose to Seattle to get to 10. 10's kind of that number where if you get to 10, you got a 80% chance of making the playoffs, right? And so you got to get to 10 wins. And I just don't, it's very hard to go 9-3 in the NFL, especially when you're just an okay team.
Yeah, and you got a lot of question marks. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've seen this. We've seen the Saints and others flip the switch from time to time. There are those stories. But the fact that they are hurt at their biggest three positions, quarterback, running back, and wide receiver, the best player at all three positions is hurt, and it's questionable whether they're going to play. That's a recipe for disaster. It's one thing when guys get off to a weird start or things aren't clicking. These are injuries we're talking about, and chances are we're going to be talking about these three guys all year, and not just this week. So that's I don't see a path to 10 wins based on what we've seen so far. Tyrann Mathieu isn't the same player he used to be. The secondary it looks to me like Marshawn Lattimore isn't quite the player he used to be. That all that said, hey, go get you a win against Seattle and keep your season alive and your chances alive and your hope alive. If not, let's go Tigers, because we'll be talking a lot of LSU.
Yeah, I agree. So Yeah, everybody's going to do the LSU game thing, and then they'll get prepared and get ready for the Saints.
All right, so let's talk in Major League Baseball. The season came to an end yesterday. Playoffs start tomorrow. There's some great matchups. I love the 2 out of 3 wild card situation. The home team hosts all 3 games. If there's a third game necessary, it doesn't go back and forth. So it's a giant home field advantage that the Guardians, the Cardinals, the Blue Jays, and the Mets have.
I'm trying to look this up. Do you know if they're going to switch the home team for game 2? Like they would do at a
Right.
regional. According to the
Right.
schedule I'm looking at, no. And game 3, no. According to my schedule of MLB, it's not going to switch game 2. So the home team's the home team, game 1, game 2, and if necessary, game 3. I'll double check that, but that's what I'm looking at. That they're not switching home team. They're not switching ballparks. We know that.
Well, which of the series you got? Rays, the Rays that are traveling to take on the Guardians. You got the Phillies taking on the Cardinals. You've got the Mariners traveling to Toronto to take on the Blue Jays, and the Padres going across the country to take on the Mets. Which of those 4 series are you most excited to watch?
Well, I'm a big Cardinal fan, and I like the Phillies because Aaron Nola, who's not going to throw tomorrow, he'll probably throw Saturday or Sunday. And they fired their manager earlier in the year. Joe Girardi was fired, and now they're in the playoffs. I think the matchup that gets you attention is the Padres and the Mets. Big payroll for both teams. Yu Darvish going for the Padres, Max Scherzer for the Mets. Bet the under. It's like 6 or 6.5, but still, that would be the wise money to bet the under. That's going to be a good matchup, and that's the 4th of 4 games tomorrow. So that's going to be interesting. Again, 3 straight days of playing because there's no travel. Home. The Guardians, the Cardinals, the Blue Jays, and the Mets will be hosting this wild card action. And the teams with the bye, they're not reseeding the teams. It's just the seeds are there, so it's already known that who will advance to play the Astros or the Yankees or the Dodgers or the other team in the National League.
I mean, the Mets. You wonder. I mean, it's baseball. The Mets had it. The Mets were leading their division for most of the whole year until the last 5 days of the season. And when they got beaten against Atlanta, and so you wonder if their heads spin a little bit because they could easily be the team, with the bye here. Instead, they're having to play, and they're hosting the Padres. It's going to be cold. Yu Darvish has kind of been a guy who has. He's yet to make his super mark and get elevated to the level of superstar, and obviously doing something in the playoffs and carrying your team can make that. This guy literally, when he came to the league, what he was known for having 9 pitches or whatever, Cubs got him, and he's had moments of brilliance, but he hasn't been overly consistent in the big games throughout his career. This is an opportunity for Yu Darvish. The Padres are getting points here. They are the underdog with Yu Darvish on the mound, plus 140, I believe it is, Tommy.
Yeah.
So if you're going to take an underdog today or tomorrow, if you're going to take an underdog in game 1, I would go with a guy who you got an all-star pitcher. More likely he's going to be a stud versus trying to go after somebody else. So I like all the home teams tomorrow. They're home teams for a reason. They've got their studs going. But if I had to take one to get a little bit of value, I would take Yu Darvish.
You described Darvish perfectly. I mean, if he's on, the Padres are going to win. He's going to give up 0 or 1 run, and he does throw a lot of pitches. And if he's on, look out. But Max Scherzer's a heck of a pitcher. I like watching 2-1 games. Most people would rather watch a game be 8-6. I'm looking forward to that one now. They may, totally surprise us, and it might be 8-6 Mets and Padres. Who knows? But I'm looking forward to postseason. October's a great month for sports. Everybody's been talking about that. And certainly tomorrow with 4 MLB playoff games. That's really cool.
All right. So before the postseason starts tomorrow, give me your World Series matchup and your prediction of who wins it. Coming
Wow.
out of the who do you like out of the AL?
Astros.
You're going to move along with the Astros, and then out of the NL,
The Dodgers. The
you're
Dodgers
going
are
to
the
go
best team in
chalk.
baseball.
So you're going to go chalk, the two
I'm
best
going
teams.
chalk. Yeah, and don't count the Braves out, but and they're the defending World Series champions. But
So
I'm going
two number one seeds and going against each other, the Astros and Dodgers, and who wins?
Dodgers.
Dodgers.
There'll be a little an additional incentive for the Dodgers if that matchup does occur from a couple of years ago.
I don't know if it's just the feel goodness of it, but I'm going to take the St. Louis Cardinals. This has been a year of stories, Tommy. This has been a year. I think the Cardinals are going to be the shocker, the 3 seed coming out of the NL. This has been the year of the storyline. And what better way for Molina and Pujols to finish their career, but in a World Series? So I'm going to go with the Cardinals coming out of the National League, probably more of a want than I think really is going to happen. And then I agree with you. The Astros are playing well. They figured things out. So I'm going to go Cardinals, Astros, an old NL matchup in the World Series. And then I'm going to stay with the feel good, Tommy. St. Louis Cardinals to win the World Series. Now, listen. Here's my reason. We know about the Pujols and Judge and Molina and all that. Just to throw a little. We know about Shohei Ohtani and the unbelievable year he's having and everything. Just to throw a little sugar on top. Stephen Vaught for the A's. Did you see this?
No, I didn't.
So Stephen Vaught, who's finishing up a 10-year career in the major leagues. Okay. He probably retiring, probably done at the end of the year. He's a hitter. He comes up for his final at bat in the old, in the Oakland Alameda County kind of Coliseum, the worst ballpark in the major leagues in Oakland. He comes up for his final at bat. His kids are on the scoreboard doing the now batting, my dad, number 21, Stephen Vaught, blah, 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 blah. So cool moment. Guy hits a home run in his final at bat at home with his kids announcing him. It was only his 7th home run of the year, finishing up a 10-year career. Hits a home run in his final at bat of his career. I mean, it's a movie. I mean, he was dancing around the bases. It was unbelievable.
Well, it just adds to all the storylines that have occurred in Major League Baseball this year. That one will get hidden a little bit, to 700 homers and 62 and a few other stories that'll be on top. But when you get something like that, I mean that's just amazing. What a thing for he and his family and the kids, and wow, who got the ball? Okay, that's the new thing now. Where's the ball?
I don't know. I don't know who got the ball. Yeah, I don't know if the fan ever gave him the ball back or not. That's one. By the way, did you see where the fan who caught home run number 62 in Arlington is holding a $2 million offer right now? It was offered $2 million for the baseball. The highest paid ball is $3 million. That was McGuire's back in the day. I don't know what this person's waiting for. Like, I don't know how quickly it would take me to say yes if someone offered me $2 million for the baseball, but the answer is yes. Like, you don't have to think about it, do anything. Give me the $2 million. Here's the ball.
Well, and the interesting topic on the Dan Patrick show yesterday was, if you got that ball, would you take the $2 million, or would you wait maybe 5 years to maybe hope it would be $10 million or more? But Dan Patrick made a great point. He said, well, what if somebody else breaks the record, or what if he hits more than 62 next year? Or you don't think this will happen, but what if all of a sudden he's caught with PEDs? Then the ball's not worth as much. So Dan Patrick said you should immediately take $2 million if somebody wants to give you that in 100%. That situation, because things could alter its value in 3 years or 5 years. Now you would be risking, because if he goes on, becomes a Hall of Famer and all this other stuff, then maybe the ball would be worth more. My answer is I would take the $2 million right now. Just tell me where to sign.
It's like if you win the lottery, don't
I'd
take
be
the 20-year payout. Take the cash option. Yeah, you get less, but you get it now, and you can use it all now. You can invest it now. You can do things with it now. But anyway, great story there. So I'm going storyline.
Look at
I'm
this.
going Cardinals.
Good line by Byron. He says the old line for Moneyball. Kind of hard not to be romantic about baseball. That's a pretty good one, Byron. Glad you brought that one back up.
Yep.
Yeah. Carl Dunn says he's bringing the pen. Show me the money right now.
No doubt. All right. So for the record, Tommy's got Astros, Dodgers with the Dodgers winning. Nothing creative about that pick. I'm
going with chalk. I mean, you're trying to win money here, right?
I've got Houston and St. Louis with St. Louis winning. That's the I'm not betting money pick. That's just the romantic wanting it to happen pick. All right. And then Tommy also gave you his prediction. He's got under 65 on the over-under for LSU Tennessee. Run to bet, make that bet. Also, you got one free one for the folks. You think Bama gets back on the track this week in that first half?
Yeah, well, actually, they covered last week too, so I think they get back. Minus 14 first half against A&M, and I think that they will. There's so many storylines here. Not that any of them are going to get talked about, especially by Nick Saban. Both him and Fisher said this week that that's all in the past. We're not worried about it. We're good friends. All this stuff. But look, these Alabama players, Saban doesn't have to say it, and it's like the linebacker Will Anderson said when Fisher made all the comments. He goes, I don't pay attention to that. We'll talk when they kick off the game, when we play them. So I just think Bama's just going to be, they're at home. They lost to A&M last year. They're going to look to start fast. Now, they may not have Bryce Young. They got Milroe, who, is the next guy in line at Alabama. So, but I still think I'd lay the 14 in the first half for sure, and I'd lay the 24 in the game too.
All right, TK, tell us about Court Street before we get out of here.
All right, Court Street Cafe. Of course, LSU plays on a Saturday morning. They're going to get the Bloody Marys going. They open at 8 a.m. They got a friendly staff here. Saturday night will be steak night if you want to hang around after the game. The full-service bar. Yeah, they got the daiquiri machines. We've got everything else you want at a bar. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Monday through Saturday. You don't leave here hungry. Everything is great about the Court Street Cafe. Jason and his staff do a great job. 805 Court Street in Port Allen. Come over to Mississippi River Bridge. Go to the right. Second red light. Take a right. 100 yards down, you'll see the patio, which is nice with this weather cooling off. And you'll see Court Street Cafe. Plenty of parking available. Come on in and check it out. If you haven't been here, you need to make a point to get here and check it out. Anyway, watch the LSU game Saturday. They'll have the Bloody Marys going early in the morning. They'll have the game when they got many TVs in here. So we want you to check that out. Court Street Cafe. Connect with them on Facebook and Instagram. You can keep up with all the specials and everything else they got going on.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow morning for more Sports Shorts. We'll talk. By the way,
LeBron James. We're going 10:30 tomorrow morning, folks. Right?
Yep, 10:30 a.m. Central Time tomorrow morning.
Don't forget Sports Shorts After Dark, as Nookie called it. He's wanting to know if clothing optional for listeners. What is that about, Ronnie? Is that?
Well, it's Sports Shorts After Dark. Get you a cocktail and make it weird if you want. That's it's up to you, Nookie. It's not a Zoom call, so feel free to be naked if you want.
Actually, I'm going to be at LaBerge tomorrow night as well. I got to meet some friends at 18 Steak, so I got to do that tomorrow. Then I'll be back for Sports Shorts Radio Saturday night, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, and also don't forget for you golfers out there, we've got a great golf tournament coming up. It's called Ghouls in Golf. It benefits the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Golfers, teams, whatever. Every golfer gets 2 tickets to the party. So there you go. So Ghouls in Golf, lasportshall.com, Ghouls in Golf, lasportshall.com. We'll be back tomorrow at 10:30 for more Sports Shorts Daily. Until then, have a great one, everybody.
Have a good one. Talk to y'all later.